Oh, very good. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Um, to be perfectly honest, this is inspired by the joy of painting with Bob Ross. I visited my very, very good friend, Maya, best friend since high school. I went and visited her for a few days, and late one evening, chilling out together, we flipped on The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. And as I was watching that, I thought, this is exactly what steelheaders do, but they just do it with nail polish and beads to catch steelhead. So I thought, how fun would it be to write Bob Ross rules? How fun would it be to set up my bead painting stuff, invite all of you to hang out if you'd like, and paint up some beads? So a few things that we're going to do this evening. I'm going to show you how I paint up my steelhead beads. I'm going to prepare and paint up a bunch of beads that I'm going to use over the coming weeks. And then I'm going to drop some Bob Ross jokes, and I hope that you join me and do that too. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna get a little crazy. This is gonna be hopefully very relaxing and kind of cathartic to watch. And there's not a lot of rules. There are no rules when it comes to painting, and there's no mistakes, just happy little accidents. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about what you're going to need. As you can imagine, you're going to need some paint, and I have some nail polishes. Now, Paul, Paul commented, happy little beads. And that is what we're doing. Happy little beads tonight. We're going to need some paint. You got it, Leaf. We're going to need some paint. So I brought some that I have, and some of it is paint that I bought for myself that I decided much better as steelhead bead paint than actual nail polish paint. And some is actually made for exactly what we're doing. Sorry, I need to take these off. I can't hardly. There you are. So to start, kind of hard to see this guy, but what we have is, this is just a clear glitter. Let's see if I can, there we go. This is a clear glitter paint that we have. So it's just, there's no like color to it. It is just, it looks like glittery snow. So that's what I'm starting with. So here's one that I have. Here's another version, and this one's a little bit bluer. There's like blue flecks in it. And really, when it comes to painting beads, like, this is art. There are no rules in art, you guys. So just get a lot of things that honestly and truthfully, try to think of what is going to attract fish. So we know that fish sometimes like a little bit of glitter, a little bit of sparkle, but we're going to go ahead and get crazy, my friends. We're going to add a little bit of color. It's going to be great. So here's one that I bought for myself, and I decided it was actually a much better bead color. So let me explain some of the methodology behind the idea of beads. The idea of beads is that you're presenting something small and something not very intrusive to a fish, and that it is also kind of resembles a loose egg, because salmon and steelhead, they will eat the other eggs. I mean, if you've ever egg fished, you know that this is an effective way to catch fish. Now, when you present one single bead, it's almost like the fish doesn't really like think too hard about it. It's like if it's coming down towards its face, it looks like food. It's not really like big and scary and intrusive. They're gonna go after it often. So if you can paint something that resembles kind of like that milked out sort of egg, that is something that we're going to do. I love all of the comments so far. But there are no rules in painting. Attract them fish. Lots of folks on YouTube and on Facebook Live watching. So I'm so excited. Keep your comments coming. I will try to answer as many as I can along the way. Ask any questions you want, whether it's steelhead or salmon related, fishing related, anything that you guys want. There are no rules. Just happy little accidents. Is that how it goes? I don't know. But anyways, here's another one. And this isn't glittery. This is just going to kind of create that milked out kind of eggy look. Now here's one that's actually made for what we're doing. This is by B&R Tackle, really good friend. It's for hard or soft beads, and I'm going to do a lot of hard beads. But this is really cool because it gives kind of like a rainbowy sheen. I know this is so hard to see on camera, you guys. A rainbowy sheen. And it's very, very translucent. Now that's really the key when you're picking out steelhead paint, is that you want a paint that's going to be mostly translucent, unless you love the color so much that you want a really pigmented color, like as if you want that bead to be exactly that nail polish color. So do that. Anthony Perry, will you be painting soft beads too? You know what? I brought hard beads, but I actually have my bin of soft beads, so I will do some of those. Wilson asked, have you tried the beads paint from B&R Soft Beads? Well, Wilson, this is actually it. This is it right here. So that's the one. B&R Tackle, baby. Great stuff. Okay, so there's that one. Another one that I have, I'm going to be really honest. I bought it because it's called Pure Ice. And it's really shiny. But some glitters are really thick and some are very fine. This one is very fine. So you don't see a chipmunk on my shoulder? Ah. Dang it, I knew I missed something. Another one that I brought, this one is very rainbowy and very glittery. Like you can see that this one is like very glittery. And these are bigger chunks of glitter. So that's going to be awesome. Yes, Josh, great comments. 9 out of 10 steelhead prefer a French manicure. And this is based out of a study that I did myself. I asked them, no one else was around. They told me though. Another one, this is going to be kind of a flat color. So I actually want the egg to be this color. And this color is light pink, but it has a little bit of glimmer to it as well. Another one that I have, now this is a translucent color. So it's going to be see-through when we paint it on the bead, but it's still glittery and really red. I thought this one would be really cool. And last but not least, honestly, the best beads that I've ever painted and the most like successful ones are usually some sort of happy little mistake that I made painting beads, and it worked out really well. So I always like to try something new. Sometimes they work out. Sometimes I end up like tossing the beads because it just turned out horrible. So my tryout for this one is going to be this. Now it's clear, there's no color to it, but it's just matte. So all of the beads that I paint are all going to be very, very shiny. This is going to make them look kind of chalky, whatever they are. It will make sure that there is no shine to them whatsoever. And every now and then, honestly, like when you try something new or something different, it just happens to be the key. So this is all of these are all of the polishes that I have this evening. And let's go ahead and get crazy. Let's start with some toothpicks. That sounds wild. Let's do that. So I also, in addition to my nail polish, I have toothpicks. And I have this thing, and it's so key. I mean, I think it's the best thing. You can use a lot of things. Like I've stabbed toothpicks with beads on them into cardboard, into like anything that I could find in my place. Like, but the best thing is these Eng boards. And these are by Fish Eng. David Eng sent this to me and I appreciate you, but it is like the best thing for organizing all of your beads. So I like it because it already kind of has notches for tying up other gear. And so what I'll end up doing is taking a happy little toothpick, finding a happy little bead, and I will stab it on here like so. I will paint the bead and then I will put it into my ink board like this. Now, someone already asked, how long do you let the beads dry? And this is, really, it's up to a couple of things. First of all, a long time, at least 24 hours, 48 hours and longer is better. What you want to avoid is painting the bead and then putting it right away into your box. Ask me how I know. I painted the bead the next morning, one night, and then the next morning I put it into my box and I organize them like this. and they all stuck together, and like I couldn't use hardly any of them. So there's also that. So let them dry 24 to 48 hours, but it's one of those things where if you do a couple of coats, you need to let it dry longer. This is something, it might be a little tougher for you guys to learn because you don't paint your nails often, but if you do, you know, and that's totally fine too. But if you paint a thick coat, it takes a long time to dry. If you paint multiple thin coats, they dry a little bit quicker, and that's super helpful. So let me go ahead and get this kind of angled down a bit so you can see more of what I'm doing here, because that will be super helpful. Okay. Cool. So I've got my happy little bead just hanging out right here. And where are we going to start? Let's go ahead and start with this pink matte bead. And I really like the color of this one. So I'm just going to give him a little happy glittery friend to play with. And I'm going to start with my little snow glitter-like nail polish. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. Get that glitter all mixed up. And then I'm going to give it one nice coat, a nice coat. And I'm going to do that by picking up this bead, and I use the brush and spin the bead to get all of the glitter on it. That's really nice now. I'm going to go ahead and keep working my way around the bead. That looks really good now. All right, we're going to go ahead and get a little crazy. I'm going to put a little extra glitter right around the belly of the bead. Maya's comment, I've painted my dad's nails before, and honestly, he still brags about it, and he's a man's man. Well, he'd probably be a great steelhead bead painter too because of that experience. Pedicures are amazing. I love pedicures. So I have one coat of glitter on this bead, and I know this is hard for you guys to see, but there's a bit of shimmer on this one, and that looks really good. I might get a little crazy here with a second coat, but we'll just go ahead and take our time with it. There's no rush in this. We can take as much time or as little time as we want, but as long as we're enjoying ourselves and having a blast, well, that'll be just fine. Oh, you can't see me painting. Let me turn you a little bit. There we go. Now can you see a little bit better now, Dan? Thanks for your comment. Okay, gotcha, Patrick. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do another pink one because I want to be able to have a handful of these pink ones. So we're going to take this. I'm going to dip into my paint. And we'll just give them some glitter friends right here. Real nice now. And I'm just going to spin the bead on the brush. I can sit here and I can paint the bead with my brush, but I like to spin the bead onto the glitter. I think it just lays on there real nice. The secret sauce to painting good steelhead beads is, well, quite frankly, channeling your inner Bob Ross. Just talk to them real nicely. Think about all of the possibilities there are when it comes to painting beads. So many. That's real nice. Like I said, we might get a little crazy later with a second coat, but for now, we'll just let him be. Get another toothpick here. Go ahead and go in for a little bit more of this snowy glitter color. You know, Anthony, I might give him a little bird or a little tree friend later, but for now, how about just a little bit of glitter for all of these pinkish beads? And coming in a little closer here, I've got the glitter loaded up on my brush. I'm just going to spin the bead on the toothpick. Real nice, real nice. We'll go the other way this time because, well, heck, why not? You know, the color of this glitter, it's all soft and snowy-like. It almost reminds me of, well, happy little clouds. Happy little clouds that you just paint right onto this bead. Well, I guess I am a little weird, but I like a little soft glitter cloud on my bead. A little bit of sparkle and flash. Paint it right onto my bead. Real nice now, real nice. So because I still want a good amount of these pink beads with some happy little cloud-like glitter, I'll just go ahead and go and do another pink bead. One more pink bead, and I'll go ahead and get a little extra glitter this time. Oh, not too much now. We don't want to get too crazy, but you know, if we make a mistake, that's okay. There's no mistakes in art. It's just happy, happy little accidents. And we'll make the best of them either way now. So I'm taking my brush and I'm just spinning the bead. Real nice, real nice. I don't have to go fast here. I'm not too worried about that Seahawks game. Not too worried about much. I'm just enjoying painting some beads with you. Thanks for joining me now. How about, oh, maybe just a little bit more here. Why not? Why not? For one, I'm shocked that anybody has tuned into this. Just a little bit more glitter. Okay, that's good. Now, we've got some happy little cloud-like glitter on some of these pink beads. Let's go ahead and, well, let's turn it up a little bit. Maybe some of this real nice red row-like glitter for a nice red bead. Let's try that. Okay, we'll take our thumb or our toothpick, and we'll get a nice size 10mm bead. We'll put it on the stick just like so. Yeah, that's real nice. And we'll take our paint and give it a little shake. Give it a little bit of a shake. Let me adjust you so you guys can see it. Oh, John, if you're going to Bob Ross them, you can't forget the mist. The mist is going to be this one. That's the mist. Right now, we're getting a little crazy. These happy little steelhead beads. You got it, Scott. Happy, happy little beads that we have here. And we're gonna jazz them up a little bit. We're gonna give them all some friends. Real nice now. That's real nice. Okay, okay. There we go. Happy little beads here. Just gonna tuck everyone in a little closer, just like that. Real nice. I'm really glad that you're so happy for these little beads. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of crazy color to them. Row red, a glittery row red. So we've got our row red on our brush. And I'm just gonna hold the brush again and just rotate the bead on the brush, getting it all on there. Real nice, real nice. And we're just gonna go ahead and swipe it on and swipe it on. And I started with a clear red bead, but I'm adding a slightly colored, slightly translucent, but still glittery polish onto it. So it still has a nice see-through-ish kind of look to it, but lots of glitter. That's real good, real good, real good. And I like it. And I'm gonna, well, let's go ahead and give them a happy little second coat. We're just gonna add it on. We're just gonna keep on going. What are some of the other things that Bob Ross says? I know he says happy little beads, happy little trees, but oh, you might consider yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a very, very important part of Bob Rossing things, of Bob Ross art. Man, are you getting a little sleepy, Maya? Good. This is supposed to be cathartic. My voice should soothe you. We're painting happy little thoughts, and if that makes you restful, well, that's just real nice, real nice. Okay, another coat. And again, I might just come back to these and we'll get a little crazy and add a little bit more to them. Add it on, add it on. Oh, you're in control here. You're, you're in control. So if you're doing this with me, pick up your toothpick. Gonna get another happy little bead. Just like that. We're gonna take a little bit of this nail polish. And we're gonna go ahead and paint it on. Just paint it on. And someone mentioned that I might seem a little bit weird tonight. Well, I like to get a little weird sometimes. As Bob Ross says, I like to get a little weird sometimes. I had my Bob Ross sayings all queued up, and now I forgot some of them. Oh, here we go. Okay, we're ready for this little morsel of knowledge of Bob Ross that I'm about to drop on you. You ready? You better not get paint on me. I can't think of anything more rewarding than being able to express yourself through painting. Steelhead beads. Here we go. Real nice. Okay, so these beads, like I mentioned earlier, are red and clear. They're see-through. I think they're called Row Red. By the way, these are all Brad's beads. I love Brad's beads. They sell a great hard bead. And what's cool about these is all of their beads kind of like have little air bubbles in them, and they're slightly more buoyant. Oh, I'm going to get weird. I'm going to express, yes, I'm going to express all of the things through painting my beads. So these beads have like little air bubbles in them. A lot of them do. Like this one has a good air bubble in it, and it makes them a little bit more buoyant than like some other beads. Like I don't like beads that are too heavy. So these are just real nice, real nice. Okay, moving on. So to answer a few questions that people have shot out and might have, I let these dry at least 24, ideally 48 hours. There is a piece of this that is really important that you have to do, well, I think that you have to do in order to finish these properly, and that is to seal them at the end. So I don't have mine out right now, but there's like a plastic spray that you can buy from I usually get mine from Joann's, but you can also order it off of Amazon if you're like not into going into stores at the moment. But order it, comes to your house, and you spray them at the end. Wait for them to dry, and then just give them a good mist. Spray all of them, and then let them rest for like at least 24 hours, and then your beads are good to go. So Eric, Mouth of Cook Creek, let's go. That's actually what I've had on my mind. Exactly, is Mouth of Cook Creek. That would be amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to set these right here. Let's prop these up a little bit higher. So I have my soft beads with me. I have my hard beads with me. All of the beadness is happening at the moment. Cool. That's a crooked bead. We'll send it to Washington. All my Bob Ross goes. I love it. I love it. Okay. Are you guys ready to get a little crazy with these beads now? We've been, painting happy little clouds. We've been giving them a little bit of mist on the beads. Let's get a little crazy and do one of my favorite beads, which is a half and half bead. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to take this time a bead that is solid. It's not see-through. It's solid in color. I'm going to put it on my little toothpick. Real nice, real nice. And I'm going to take this, this is a new one, this Morgan Taylor. It's like light pink, but glittery. And instead of painting the full bead, I'm actually just going to paint the top half of the bead. Top half of the bead, a half and half bead. So let's go ahead, get this one out. I need to paint birds. I need some birds and happy little friends, huh? All right, Anthony, I'll paint a bird before I paint the half and half. We'll do it like this. Hang on. Just a little stroke up, a little stroke down. There's your little bird. A happy little bird. There it is right there. Painted on a happy little bird. I like it. So again, for control, I'm going to hold the paintbrush and I'm not going to paint with the brush. I'm going to hold it, use my pinky to stabilize the toothpick, bring the two together, and just spin the toothpick. That will give you a perfectly straight line. That looks really, really nice. And if you don't get a perfectly straight line, that's okay. There's no mistakes in painting. You can express yourself however you like when it comes to the painting. Real good now, real good. And now, like that, we have a half and half. Gives it a little bit of contrast, a darker side, a lighter side, something different. Again, having lots of different options might be a good idea. Try them on my rivers, and that's the key to catching monsters. Excellent. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more. We're just going to go ahead and move on. By the way, for the folks who are watching, if any of you are also watching the Seahawks game, can someone give me a score update? That would be delightful. But regardless of what's happening with the Seahawks, every day is a good day for painting, even if it's not a good day for football. Yes. Okay. Oh, 16-14 Hawks? Really? Wait, who are we playing, Josh? You gotta let me know. There's a fist fight happening now? Oh, you're recording? Sorry, Eric. Sorry. Yeah, if you don't want any Seahawks game spoilers, sorry. We're playing Arizona. Okay, that's good to know. I like the idea. I really love the idea of winning a game and painting amazing beads. So we're going to go for another half and half. So again, do you guys want the like calm voice? Do you guys want Bob Ross voice or do you want Ashley voice? I won't be upset regardless of what you say. Bob Ross voice? Give like a thumbs up or comment if you want Bob Ross voice for the next bead, or if you want Ashley voice. Ashley voice is slightly more annoying than Bob Ross voice. I fully understand this. And so I will not. Oh, Ash voice. Another vote for Ash voice over on YouTube. Oh, Patrick, hi, thanks for tuning in. Yes, we will talk soon. Okay, vote for Bob. So we have 2 for Bob, 2 for Ashley. Bad Bob, which I think is a Bob. Badass Ashley. So I think we're about even again. I like Ashley voice. All right, so I'm gonna, oh boy, this is really, I think we have more votes for, oh, this is confusing. All right, I'm gonna start with an Ash voice and then I'm gonna finish it with some Bob Ross. All right, here we go. All right, guys, we got a toothpick and a bead, Red Row by Brad's Killer Fishing Gear. We're going to go ahead and dip it in some Morgan Taylor nail polish brought from yours truly's nail polish bag. And we're going to make a half and half bead. Boom. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to slow it down. Going to hold the brush just like so and spin the bead ever so lightly, dragging the brush across the bead. You get to see the way that the glitter dances as you roll the bead around. That's real nice. I like to get a little weird with the way that I paint my beads. I believe it's the best way to express myself as a steelheader is to just, get a little crazy, add a little extra paint. Add some happy little birds and some trees. Go wild. Do whatever you want. There's no rules when it comes to art, painting. Look at that. Now that just turns out real nice. Well, that's just perfect. Real nice, real nice. Okay, stabbing it into my little board. And then for those who are popping in, we have a Davang board, and this is something that you can tie up a bunch of gear. Toothpicks with beads on them, and I'm just painting them to make them look good. Now that the pink ones here on the end have dried, I'm going to go ahead and get a little crazy and add a second little coat. So while I'm adding a second coat, some other things that I do in preparation for steelheading. Is this the same one that I used? Yes. Yes. Okay. And while I'm painting these with a crazy, crazy little second layer, a few other things that I do to get ready for steelheading is I tie up all of my hooks as well. Now, the hooks that I use for steelheading, and I'm not afraid to use this size of a hook, regardless of the size of steelhead. I use size 2 hooks. Now, the ones that I use are the glow bug style hook from Gamakatsu. They're amazing. I absolutely love them. So those are the ones that I use for that. And I tie them up and I rig them up in a pips. Let me show you what that is. For those of you who don't know what a pips, is that Clint Laurie? Oh my gosh, Clint Laurie popped on. My goodness. Clint Laurie with the Addicted Fishing Crew is here. That's so awesome. What's up? Okay, this is what a pips is. It has this little like cap thing to it that closes it, and all of my rigged up hooks are on the inside. So this is amazing. And what I do is you tie up all your hooks, put them into this like foam pouch, and then you line it up, put the line through this notch, and then you twist it and it wraps up all of your leaders together. It's awesome. So this is how I have mine set up. So when I need to set up, like, let's say I'm float fishing a bead, and under my inline weight, I have my leader and I break it off or, whatever, and I need to do a new one. So I just pull one of the hooks out and then I just slide it out of the pips and it's good to go. And so from there, I just take this and take whatever bead, drop it on, and I have this set up the way I like it, including with a way to peg the bead above the hook. Now, there are so many ways that people do this, but kind of like art, there's no wrong way to do it. There is a wrong way to do it. Don't do it with a toothpick because it compromises the integrity of your line. Outside of that, some people use I use a clear bobber stop. This is, you guys, it's clear, so you can't really see it. It's right there. I use a clear bobber stop on my hooks. I used to tie a nail knot over them. That was one of the ways that I got these prepared. And then also, I'd use there's this, I forget what it's called, but it's like this rubbery thing that you like slide through the bead and the alongside the line and then pull it. I forget what that's called. What is that called? Yeah, anyways, but that's also, that also works too. And so with that leader, I wanted to put it back. I put it in here and I slid my line through that notch, and now I'm just twisting it and it's all set up and ready to go for later. I put my little lid back on. These are ready to go. Easy peasy. Ready to roll. All right. Back to these beads. I'm going to go ahead and add my second layer onto these. Oh, Eric, bait fish in Mexico didn't love the clear bobber stop. Tell us more. So my friends, everyone who's listening, one of our commenters, his name's Eric. I work with him at the O'Loughlin trade shows, and he has a guide service out of Westport and is an all-around star and fishes all over the place. And apparently the Mexico fishing scene wasn't into clear bobber stops. Interested in hearing more about that. Anyway, so back to getting crazy with beads, the joy of painting beads with Badass Outdoors. I'm adding a whole bunch more glitter onto this one because I really love the color of this. That's really like bubblegum pinky, and now it's like really sparkly too. So that is going to be excellent. So with this, like this is a very fine glitter and that's great, but I also want like a very glittery, I would like a glitter bead. I'd like a glitter bead. Let's make a glitter bead. And I'm going to do that with like my hard glitter here. And that's more of like a silvery rainbow glitter. I know it's hard for you guys to see, but I'll try to take some photos and post this. Let's try something a little bit different here. So it's called Nail Polish Pink by Brad's Killer Gear. It's a very hard, darker pink. And let's just get a little crazy. Let's just make this one a crazy one. Yeah, y'all having charter boats go out of Westport during COVID. There's a little bit of charter boating. I don't know if there's some charter boats that are running, but I think they have to have like special precautions and that sort of thing. Eric, they weren't into your style, huh? Bead peg. Yeah, Robert, who's commenting from the YouTube live page, bead peg, which is ridiculous that I couldn't think of what is the thing that pegs the beads, that rubbery thing. It's called a bead peg. God dang it, guys. Every now and then. So I've had these for a while, and some of them are getting a little weird. So you got to keep an eye on that. This one has like a glitter booger, which is weird. Ew. Okay, let's try this out. If it's weird, I'm not going to continue. And it's a little weird. So if you have glitter that gets old, don't use it because this is just going to clump up on this bead and no good. So hard glitter, bye. Let's go for one called Sinful Colors because we all know that Steelhead are into sinful colors because they like to get a little crazy too. Okay, toothpick, Das bead. And again, I'm using the 10 millimeter bead. I will also paint the 12 millimeter bead, the 14 millimeter bead, all the way down to the 8 millimeter bead. I don't usually do too much smaller than that. For me and for what I do, 8 to 14 is great. Riley wants to know, what is peak winter steelhead fishing? So in the Pacific Northwest, in the area that I fish the most, it's hot in January. I mean, so fish are coming in right now. And there's fish trickling in actually all up and down the coast. Not a ton of them. I don't know if it's really worth, beating yourself up to go and find a bunch of fish at the moment. But in a few more weeks, this is going to start getting a little insane. Now, for where I fish, they really start coming in. That initial hatchery run, those crazy buggers, they're all over the place in January. I would say almost all of January, you have a lot of crazy buggers everywhere. And then in February, you still have a lot of crazy buggers everywhere. And in March, you still have some crazy buggers all over the place. And then April, it starts to like kind of peter out and that sort of thing. So with this really dark pink bead, I'm giving it a little bit of like this bluish glitter. And to be perfectly honest, I don't really like it. So I'm going to switch to a different one. And I'm going to use the, there's a name for this. Brandon, why do you have to name these things weird stuff? It's called Naked, Nekid, 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 oh, gosh, Nekid, it's called it's this one, and it's like, can you guys read that? It's called Nekid BPNK. That's the one that it was. I'm using this Naked paint. Anyway, I'm gonna take this one, dab a little bit of paint, and we're just gonna keep painting. Real nice, real nice. And this one has a really nice sheen to it. It's not very glittery, but the nice thing is it's like very, it honestly, to be perfectly honest, it's a little bit of misty. It's like a mist. I'm painting some mist. This little naked mist that I'm painting on these beads. Real nice. Just rotating the bead. And there we go. Nice pink bead. There it is. So another thing that I do, and I haven't been doing it while I've been doing this process, but I usually have like a pen and a piece of paper, and I mark what bead it is and what nail polish it is. So I kind of am keeping the nail polishes close to the beads that I'm painting. So for the light colored pink beads, I'm using Essence Effect nail polish in shimmer, hollow shimmer. And so I'll write down what it is so that I continuously know, like, what I have, because if you get out there and you find a bead that works exceptionally well for you, you're going to want to recreate it. So that's important information for you to have. Now, one of the things that I mentioned earlier is that I like for a bead to have a real nice, milky kind of look to it. So I'm going to take this kind of flat orange bead, and I'm going to take this kind of like milky, sort of orangey pink polish, and I'm going to paint this one up and see how this turns out. And honestly, the truthful part of this is I paint a lot of beads and there's no mistakes. There's just happy little accidents, and we make the best of them anyways. And if there's something, oftentimes there's ones like, you know what, I just don't think I want to feed that to a steelhead, and I don't. And then other times I make a happy little accident and it turns out to be the most deadliest bead ever. So I'm going to take this kind of eggy, it looks like milked out eggs to me. Have you ever come to a river and you see eggs in the water and they kind of have that like milky orange look? That's what this polish really looks honestly exactly like. And it's called Pink Ribbon by Butter London. I'm going to be really honest about this nail polish. It's a great nail polish. Really, 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 really good color for exactly what I'm doing. These nail polishes are all like ones that I found at like grocery stores, Fred Meyer, things like that. This brand, I think you can only get it around here at Nordstrom's, and it's like stupid expensive. So I would say if you want this exact one, it's Pink Ribbon by Butter London, if you like paying like $25 for a little bottle of nail polish. But you can find something at the store that's similar. That's just going to be the case. And Maya, I came up with painting beads when I was sitting on your couch having a glass of wine watching Bob Ross, is partially the truth. No, I've been doing this for a few years, probably since 2014, 2013. I kind of got into it, and then it turned into like, and somebody else showed me, like I had a friend that showed me bead. We weren't painting beads yet, but we were just fishing with beads. And then like people started talking about painting beads, and like I got into doing that then. But now, to be honest, and I think a lot of folks on here will, I think, agree with me. But painting beads is this really wonderful piece of getting excited for steelhead season. So there's like one of the best parts of being a steelheader is sitting in the garage, talking with your friends. I don't really get to do that because of COVID, but thank goodness we have the technology that I can hang out with you folks who are like-minded, love fishing, steelheading, maybe other kinds of fishing. If you're Eric, you like fishing, but just don't catch fish. Hey. And we get to do this together. So really, like, there's nothing better than sitting in the garage with friends and talking about fishing and getting excited. And so this is kind of like a way, it's like a part of like the fishing culture is you do this piece too. So that's a big part of it. Anyways, back to our milked out little orange. So here's what we've got so far. The milked out orange one. I've only put like a little strip of paint on it. So yeah, ouch. Yeah, I got you, Eric. I'm seeing the comments are slightly delayed. But it's very true, Maya, that painting beads is like a part of being excited that steelhead season is upon us. Like, and there's going to come a piece. And if there's any steelheaders on here, I want you to comment and tell me what you think too. If there's any steelheaders on here, you know that late November, it starts getting close to Thanksgiving, and you get a good cold snap, and all the rivers kind of get low, and you enjoy Thanksgiving with your family, and you see rain on the forecast and a good cold snap coming through. That is what I live for, and that's what steelheaders live for, is like that, the right timing, the right weather events, like, and it's going to be on after that. So I'm just getting excited for those moments coming through. And there's lots of different like points, or there's a lot of different like methods that you can prep for getting ready for this. So right now I'm doing beads, but I was thinking maybe in a couple of days I will do some like worms. I'll set up some worms, like thread worms, and get those ready because I love fishing worms. I'll probably tie up yarnies and do some yarnies. I'll probably tie up some rags. I will probably tie up a ton of things. I will start getting some spoons ready because I'm about that spoon grab. That's amazing. And then a few weeks ago, if any of you were there for it, I also did some bait curing, and I cured up some steelhead bait. That's it, tying jigs. I knew that there was one. Thank you, Daniel. I also want to tie up some jigs, and you guys can't quite see it, but up in this corner, there's like a window, and there's this wooden box, and it has all of my jig and fly tying things there. So I'm excited to get the vise, and I have some jig heads. Actually, my friends from Addicted sent me some awesome jig heads. And then I have some Gamakatsu jig heads as well. And so I'm going to tie some stuff onto those. And oh my gosh, that seems like a good Bob Ross opportunity, does it? Just add a happy little tuft of olive green to this one, and maybe we'll make a nightmare jig. That'll be just nice. Oh no, Ty Wyatt jumped on. I didn't even see that he was there. Okay, guys. Ty Wyatt is arguably the second best bead fisher in the Northwest behind me. And with that being said, I think he probably has forgotten more about bead fishing than I'll ever know. Ty, since you're on here, I'm going to put you on the spot to give us some good bead tips. Good bead tips from Ty Wyatt. We want them. And somebody on here wants GPS locations too, so don't you spare a single thing, okay? Anyways, and Ty is the one who pointed out to me that Brad's killer beads have the little air bubbles in them, and therefore a little bit more buoyant. So that's super awesome. And he also has called me out for painting slow. But let me just say this. Let me say this, Ty. I have a little bit of advice for you too, since you're here. Ty, I don't know if you've ever watched Bob Ross, but in terms of painting fast, painting slow, there are no rules when it comes to your expressions in art. There are no mistakes, but just happy little accidents. So when it comes to painting up the perfect bead, you get out a little bit of glitter, get out your bead on a toothpick, and just paint up a nice little bead. A nice, happy little bead. Real nice now. And you can go as slow as you want. And if you want to go fast, well, that's okay too. But for this bead, I'm going to give him a nice, slow coat of pure ice glitter on this Brad's killer fishing bead. Real nice now. Lots of little air pockets in this bead. And some people might say, well, that's a defect. And I say, no, they're just little happy little air pocket friends in that bead. And that's just fine with me. Just fine. Maybe we'll add a little tree, a friendly little tree right there. Real nice. Yeah. I'm going to catch one on this bead just for you. Okay, real nice now. We're going to keep getting a little crazy. Paint starts to dry and finish will be dull. Guaranteed good advice. Ty, I think that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that with us. It is better to paint fast. I've painted many beads and many nails, and it is nice to paint fast. But for this one, we're just going to give them a nice, happy little coat of glitter. Real nice. Real nice. Maya, literally Ashley will call me and I'll get a fish on the line after. That's true. That's like the phone call fish is like a real thing. Everyone knows that. There's another way to get a fish. If you're having troubles catching fish, start cooking lunch for people. Make sure you get like a cooking thing where you can't walk away from it too, because that's when you get a fish. This is some truth. Mark, need to tie up some jigs as well. Spoons are the jam. Yeah, these are all things that we should do. And honestly, I don't know how everyone else is coping with the pandemic. If you're in the Pacific Northwest like I am, I live in Oregon, but I spend just as much time in Washington because I'm a Washingtonian. I will always be at heart. Both are in a mandatory 2-week lockdown, and I think longer in more places. Yeah, longer in more places, but it's difficult. It's hard. You know, a lot of us just kind of got our first couple glimpses of socialization, and then it's locked down again. And, you know, we understand, but it's still tough. So getting to do this sort of thing and inviting you into my garage with me. And you know what? Maybe next time we'll have a glass of wine. Well, why don't we just go ahead and do that right now? Cheers to you and getting through the next 2 weeks in a quarantine on the eve of steelhead season. Pinky's up. Yeah, moving on. Okay, so one thing that I mentioned earlier, and Ty, thank you so much. You're such you're just so amazing. One thing that I think Ty would agree with me, and a lot of folks would agree, is trying different things is how you stumble across the next thing that works really, really well. And the way that I'm doing that this time is using one called Mattes a Wrap, M-A-T-T-E-S, like matte, as in things are shiny or they're matte. And so I'm going to take one of these beads and I'm going to give it this kind of matte finish to it. It's not going to color the bead, but it is going to be like cloudy, like happy little clouds of beads. We'll paint some happy little beads here right now. Go ahead and take a bead, put it on our toothpick. It's that matte color. Matte. It's not even really a color, but that's okay. It's whatever you imagine it to be. We'll take a little bit of this paint and just, oh heck, I've never done this part before. I've never used this before, but we'll just see how it goes. We're going to go ahead and spin some on it. Spin some matte on it. It doesn't color it up at all, and it's not even that cloudy, but I've painted this one on my nails before, and once it dries, it like turns really, really like light and matte. So we'll give that a moment. So this is how it looks now. So I'm going to put this close for YouTube, close for Facebook. And by the way, Facebook friends, I do have a YouTube channel and have been posting lots there. Would love for you to check it out. So as that dries, wow, it's actually already happening. In that time that I show you guys, it's starting to get like dull. That's amazing. Okay, we'll give that another minute to keep doing its thing. By the way, Ty Wyatt gave me my first half and half bead. Boom. So somebody asked about soft beads, because soft beads are also a really effective bead for steelhead as well. So I have some of my hard beads painted up, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears and do a soft bead. So this is how I organize my hard beads. Very good, very good. And I'm gonna bust out some soft beads. And I have a kit that none other than Brandon from B&R Tackle, he's so amazing, sent it to me. Isn't that nice? He's great. And he sent to me the paint, which, by the way, a whole bunch of people just popped on Facebook. The paint's called Naked. Okay, that's silly. So for everyone who just joined, thank you for popping on. And I'm glad that you're here. You may have saw in the title that this is going to be a Bob Ross style painting. So the truth is, you know, I'm just picking up some beads, this bead and that bead, and we're just, you know, we're just getting a little crazy. We're just adding a little bit of excitement to these beads. We're just going to paint happy little clouds on them and do whatever we want because there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes in art. All right. So now that I've been doing hard beads, I'm going to go ahead and switch into soft beads. And I'm going to go ahead and use, I think this looks like a size 12 bead, and I'm going to put it on my toothpick. Now, the great thing about these soft beads by B&R Tackle is that Brandon from B&R makes a paint that is made for the soft bead. And this one is called, Mackenzie's already on top of it. Thanks for commenting that. It's called Naked Blue Pink, but like Nekid. Naked. Naked. This is naked color. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch into the Bob Ross here. Okay, now that we have all the things that we need, nice little bead, nice little naked paint. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit of paint on our brush. Not too much and not too little, but if you do too much, that's okay. And we're going to go ahead and touch the brush to the bead and spin the bead, but not the brush. And that's going to give you lots of control and give you a nice even coat. So I'm going to dip into my naked paint and just rotate the bead onto the brush, evenly coating the naked onto the bead. And that's just real nice. Now, sometimes I like to do a second coat and I like to get a little crazy with it, but oh gosh. You know, maybe we'll just come back to that. We'll get a little crazy here in a moment. Real good. So I'm going to put my soft bead on my ang board. And for those of you who have just popped on, I have a fish ang board that David Ang sent me. And I love it because it has these little notches in it for setting up gear. And I like to take toothpicks and put my beads on them and set it up. That way I can organize them, paint them, and so they dry evenly. There's lots of different ways to paint beads. And there's no wrong way to paint beads. Art is beautiful expression, and you can express yourself any way you like. Some people, like our friend Bob Ross, does that with an easel and paints magnificent portraits. Well, people like you and I, we try to trick Steelhead into thinking things that aren't food are food so that they can become our food. So let's go ahead and do some more of that. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna take another toothpick. And let's take what color bead should we take next? Let's take a nice little orange bead next. We have an orange soft bead and it's clear. So we're going to use our naked paint again. Well, here we go. And Ty, you said it so eloquently, but these creative aspects of fishing make it so fun. And I am channeling Bob Ross so hard, Mackenzie. Good. Now, this naked paint, and I'm saying that because it's called naked, not just because I've decided to call it naked. Well, it looks like happy little clouds that I'm painting onto the bead, dancing along. And I'll just add a little bit more so he has some nice little friend clouds. And they can all just be on the bead together. Real nice, real nice. And we'll go ahead and set him right over here next to the other one. And we'll go ahead and set our naked away for now. That'll be just fine. We're going to go ahead and take another toothpick. Oh, you know, I think it's that time, folks. Let's do something a little crazy. Yeah, let's get a little crazy. Now, this is a soft bead by B&R Tackle, and it's 2 different colors already, but we're going to add some more to it. Let's just go ahead and let loose and, well, we'll have some fun tonight, won't we? Okay, get your naked paint, NEKID, just saying. And we're going to go ahead and just give it a little spin. And I'm going to touch the bead to the brush, load it up with our happy little cloud-like paint. And I'm just going to spin the bead. Just going to spin it. Yeah. Oh, that's real nice. It's like a beautiful mist that we're adding to our already multicolored bead, creating a beautiful landscape of colors and different textures. And then we'll feed it to a steelhead and then feed ourselves with a steelhead. Unless it's a wild steelhead, then that's a no-no. Don't do that. Back to the naked paint. Real nice strokes, just like here. And now we have all of this. Multicolor, multi-sheens. I'm making, okay, so I have a comment from Valco. I'm making salmon patties while you're painting, hoping to see more steelhead videos from you this winter. Well, you're in luck. There will be some steelheading this winter. Do you have a pattern you call sweaty? Yes, I do. Let's do that. No, I don't. I'm not even really sure what that is. The circle of life. That's so exciting. Sweaty beads. You guys are hilarious. It's amazing. There was a few questions that I wanted to go ahead and address. Someone asked, when does Cook Creek fire up on YouTube? And the answer is usually right after Thanksgiving. That one starts getting going, but it's very different every single year. There's a few weeks of difference. Someone asked about WFO beads, and I do have... WFO makes clusters, which I don't know that anybody else is doing that, but let me show you some of those because they can be set up and used just like a bead. So this one's called It's a Girl, and let me show you what this is. So here's a good option. There we go. It's like a little cluster of like 6, 7, like little bitty eggs. It's soft and squishy, and it's pink. See? Pink. Beautiful. And this one has, you can kind of see, and I'll bring it up closer here. Here we go. There, you can kind of see it, but it has flecks of pink glitter in it. So that's exciting. I think someone had a question about line. What size line do you use? Usually I used like 12-pound fluorocarbon line. That's what I use. A lot of folks swear by 8 and 10 pound for steelhead. It really depends on the area in which you are fishing. So that's important to keep in mind. I know who inspired that color. Flattered. Didn't name it though. Wait, I don't know what you're talking about, Ty. I don't know what that means. Oh, here's the thing I was talking about earlier. So this little like rubbery clear deal, this is a bead peg. And if you weren't on earlier, I was trying to talk about the ways in which you can peg a bead on the line. And you can do that. The way that I do it is with a clear bobber stop. I also sometimes tie a nail knot onto my line with a heavier line. So like a 30-pound line nail knot on a 12-pound fluorocarbon line. And another way is using these. And they are like little soft rubbery things that you slide up the bead along the line and then pull it through. There's a thicker end. That's the thicker end. Boom. So all of that, and pull it through and like clip off the tag end. So some people do that as well. Just like our friend Bob Ross, you know, it's art. You can do it any way that you like to do it. There are no wrong answers. Lots of different ways that you can make this happen. And if it works for you, well, that's the most important thing. You can express yourself any way you like. There you have it. Okay, so those are the egg clusters by WFO. Bless them, they're amazing. Let's go ahead and do, let's do a couple more hard beads that I would love for you guys to see. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my little beads back up here. So some of these I've done a couple of coats on. Some of these I've only done one coat on, like these guys here. These guys are half and half beads. So they're like kind of a pinkish, like non-translucent color on top, and then a red see-through-ish color on the bottom. Again, I did this for contrast. Those are, it's a good thing to do, is just set up, give yourself a variety. I found like one year, let me show you. One year I had this bead that crushed everywhere that I went. It was just like this. It was a little bit pinker than this, light colored bead. Okay. And like the next year I went to use it and like I couldn't catch anything on it. Like I really couldn't catch anything on it. So I try to not get too caught up in like what's going to work. I try to give myself a variety, give yourself some reds, give yourself some pinks, give yourself some oranges, and then don't be afraid to like grab, you know, like a dark purple bead or something like that, because sometimes different is a good way to go. It's an important piece as well. So what do we want to see now? Let's go ahead and do some more hard beads. Let's do, I have this like really cool orange one. Is it in this box? Nope, it's in this box. Hang on. Ding, rotate. For Eric, you said clear water, and I'm not sure if you mean the clear water that is the fishing area I fish, like the river, or if you mean like what do you fish in clear water. The cool thing, I'm just going to answer it as if we're talking about like what kind of water do you fish beads in. So good rule of thumb, anytime you're steelhead fishing, if you have dirty water, like a lot of water and dirty water, or, you know, for whatever reason, the visibility is poor, maybe it's overcast, maybe it's raining, you're in general going to want to go with bigger size profile and more brightly colored. And the reason why is you want to give fish the opportunity to see what you're presenting them. Now, the clearer the water is, or the lower the water is, so low and clear, you want to go smaller and less intrusive, because you still want the fish to be able to see what you're presenting them, but you don't want to scare the jeepers out of them with a huge jeepers. I'm dating someone from Wisconsin and it's showing right now. I'm so embarrassed. When you're fishing low and clear water, you don't want to scare the fish. And so you want to use something smaller and less intrusive. So maybe instead of using something really bright and hard and pink, you would use something a little bit softer pink, for example. Not to say that you can't catch fish with big bright things in low clear water. And I've certainly caught like great fish in like dirty high water with like a very small, like nearly clear bead. Maya says dirty water equals bright naked colors, and clear water is like not so bright naked colors. And naked was the name of one of the bead paints that I had, which is hilarious. Yeah. What is this? A Dum Dum Sucker tasting contest? Close. That's not far off, because I was going to, I mean, to be honest, actually, I'm going to go ahead and double down on it. This is exactly a Dum Dum Sucker licking contest, but the sucker licker is a steelhead. Yeah. Anyways, back to bead painting. Let's go ahead and do, okay, so this bead, I've done some of these, I've done some of these. Let's go ahead and go back to my, let's go ahead and go back to like this, like it's like a matte red colored bead already. And so here's the thing is I painted the red bead earlier with that matte color I was telling you about, and it looks just exactly like the matte version of that already red bead. So I don't need to take that extra step. However, I'm going to take the matte bead and I'm going to completely cover it with this pink glitter kind of deal. So there. I don't know what I said that was so funny and everyone's laughing, but now I'm like self-conscious. Like, I don't know if we're laughing with me or at me. Okay. What do you use besides a bead to catch steelhead? Don't know if I caught that. Yeah, Stephen, that's a great question. And one of the things that we talked about earlier was that there are a lot of things that I actually take with me to go steelhead fishing. I love bringing jigs. Let me actually give you, you know what, while you guys are still here, a lot of you guys have been on for a while, and there's a lot of ways to catch steelhead. If I like had to give like my best steelhead secret, my very best steelhead secret, it is this. And if you've heard of it, that's super. I want to hear. If you've like, hey, I've heard about that, I want to know. But jig fishing is very effective. It's effective in like clear water. It's effective in dirty water. It's effective early season. It's effective late season. It's effective all of the time. Jig fishing for steelhead is where it is at. Now, there's a product made by Power Bait. And when you think of Power Bait, you probably think of trout fishing. So with Power Bait, which is made by Berkeley, they the science behind the product is unreal. It's unreal. The testing that they do to ensure that their attractant works for catching trout is like second to none. Here's the thing though. What is a steelhead, folks? A steelhead is an anadromous trout. So while the product isn't made specifically for a steelhead, it is made for a trout. Like this is a similar species. Like again, the only difference between a rainbow trout and a steelhead is that a steelhead is anadromous, meaning that it goes to the saltwater and comes back and doesn't live its entire life in freshwater. Here's what we're gonna do. So, yep, Power Bait, trout fishing for me. Boom, Maya gets it. Okay, so that in mind, Power Bait. Think about Power Bait. And what I want you to have in mind is like the little Power Bait dough balls. Hang on, let me get it for you. Hang on. Let me find the right one. I want you to see the right one because I have a lot of Power Bait in here. Where's the right Power Bait? Okay, let me find the proper bait of power. So you guys hang on just a second. Yes. Okay, here we go. The Power Bait eggs that come like this. This is the white one, but get the orange one, get the pink one, get the rainbow colored one. If you take a Power Bait egg and you put it on your jig, when you fish your jig, you now have scent that is like directly going to attract a steelhead. Like very, very, very enticing to steelhead. And you do that by adding a Power Bait. Like I started doing this a couple years ago just for my clients when we went out on the river, and boom, like blew people's mind. It was amazing. So that's what we ended up doing. So Power Bait tipped on a jig is amazing. So does that Power Bait egg float though? It does, but it's not so buoyant that it's going to have a big impact on a jig. So commonly we use like 3/4 ounce, well, not 3/4 ounce, like half ounce, 3/4 ounce jigs when we're floating. Like we have that under a float for steelhead. Just tip it and it's not going to be enough to hinder that at all. Would you bobber dog just a Power Bait? Chris, I might, but you would have to use, yeah, I guess you could, because with bobber dogging, you have a stick weight that's essentially dragging, and your leader off of that would just kind of swirl around. And I use worms, which are like pretty buoyant. So I don't understand like why Power Bait wouldn't work either. That's a really great idea. I've actually never done that, and that's super cool. That's a great idea. Stephen, I've never been to Michigan, but I certainly have plans on visiting the Midwest soon. So hopefully I will get to come over at some point and try out a little bit of steelhead fishing in that area. So anyways, friends, I'm going to continue painting my beads. I'm going to continue getting ready for steelhead season. One more that I wanted to show you by Power Bait. You can turn this into little balls, and like if you want smaller bits, you can go ahead and squeeze it onto your jig. So I can show you that another time, but thank you so much for joining me for Bob Ross style bead painting. We painted up some things real nice. A fabulous expression of art through painting beads. And I hope you guys are all hanging in there okay, wherever you are, as we deal with the 2-week shutdown in the Pacific Northwest and the various shutdowns across the country. You got it, Scott. These are happy little beads, and we had some fun tonight. And I can't wait to do this with you guys again. If you guys have ideas for the next kind of video, like live video that you want me to do, whether it's jigs, whether it's worms, or it doesn't have to be steelhead, it could be anything else too, please comment. I would love to hear your ideas. Thanks for spending the evening with me. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Fishing for me is best when I get to share it with others. So thanks for being a part of that. And we'll go ahead and see you another time. What does Bob Ross sign off with? Oh, I wish I would have thought of that. Well, whatever he says, I say that to you. Until next time, enjoy the art of painting beads for steelhead. Take care. And we're going to go ahead and end stream on YouTube. Good night. Good night. Good night.